LiberalViewer presents.
So I've actually put a link down in the video description to an argument I had back in 2002 when they were opening Guantanamo, where I talked about what a prisoner of war is. And if you look at the definition, members of the armed forces of a party to the conflict, and a party doesn't have to be even though the Taliban wasn't recognized as the government except by like Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, as long as they're the de facto government, their troops should be qualify as prisoners of war if they're captured. So I don't know why over on CNN State of the Union, Candy Crowley misstated the fact that the Taliban was in charge of Afghanistan when that war started. Everyone seems to have forgotten that, and she was having this discussion with Representative Mike Rogers where they both kind of assumed that the Taliban was just this terrorist group and not the government of Afghanistan at the beginning of the conflict. And they kind of mix up the Taliban and Al-Qaeda, even though they were allied. The Taliban were native, mostly Pashtun Afghans, while Al-Qaeda were like foreign Arab fighters, and they're just not the same thing. And even Al-Qaeda fighters might have qualified as prisoners of war if they were a associated militia with the Taliban, but certainly the members of the Taliban and in the Taliban military when they were the government of Afghanistan should qualify as prisoners of war, which was totally lost in the discussion between Candy Crowley and Representative Mike Rogers over in this clip.
Truth is, we weren't really ever at war in Afghanistan against Afghanistan or Pakistan or any country. We were at war with a group, expanded to groups, but nonetheless, in the world of asymmetric warfare, where we are fighting groups and not nations, we used to do prisoner exchanges with nations all the time when we were at war with them. Why not now?
Because, again, the Haqqani Network is a terrorist organization. It is not a nation state. They don't control government services or anything that even close to resembles.
Yes?
Well, we're at war with anyone that declares war against the United States, which is Al-Qaeda and its affiliates and those who provided resources
right. And
to do bad things.
If you're at war with this group, as you would be with a state, with Germany or, in the past, don't you of necessity have to negotiate a prisoner exchange?
No, here's where I disagree completely. Now, we have other means to use. And remember, they came to Congress about a year ago and said, we're thinking about doing these negotiations. And by the way, they didn't get a very warm reception from either party in the national security committees. They said, this is fraught with trouble. Well, so this all of a sudden comes a year later. They didn't notify Congress. I think they violated the law in two different places here. Why is because this is morphing into different places. So an Al-Qaeda affiliate in now Africa looks a lot and functions a lot like the Al-Qaeda affiliates operating out of the tribal areas in Pakistan. You can't, if you negotiate here, you've sent a message to every Al-Qaeda group in the world that says, by the way, some who are holding U.S. hostages today, that there is some value now in that hostage in a way that they didn't have before. That is dangerous. And so our argument is, listen, we don't fight this like we would fight a nation-state war. You can't. And you shouldn't negotiate with terrorists for this very reason.
So yeah, in that whole discussion, I have a lot of respect for Candy Crowley as a journalist. I've seen her do a lot of good things and confront politicians with facts, but I think she got the facts totally wrong in that last clip. She said that we were never at war with the nation state when we actually did go to war with the government of Afghanistan. At the time, we toppled the government of Afghanistan using the Northern Alliance and our air power fairly quickly, but at the time we started the war, the Taliban were the government of Afghanistan, and that's why these Taliban prisoners in Guantanamo should have been prisoners of war from the beginning, and that alleviates a lot of this controversy over negotiating with terrorists. At least I think so. But I want to know what you think. Didn't Taliban forces qualify as prisoners of war under the Geneva Convention when the Taliban governed Afghanistan? And if they did, why did the Sunday morning news analysis shows from the corporate media fail to address this issue in their coverage of the Taliban prisoner release, not just on CNN, but also on ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox News?
I YouTube, you decide.